My personal project was decorating cupcakes and the effect on my mental health. A little quick introduction. I baked cupcakes in different ways and I tracked my mood and tried to figure out how being creative expressed my mental health. Um, the goal of my project was to learn how an everyday thing that I enjoyed doing, like baking, can stimulate creative responses from the brain and improve my health. I wanted to learn about the relationship between my health and decorating cupcakes. I tried to learn if it worked so that I know if I'm ever feeling stressed and I can do something I enjoy like baking cupcakes to relieve that stress. I also hoped to learn if I would feel better after decorating the cupcakes in general. I chose this topic because baking is really fun and it's something that I enjoy doing. When I was deciding my project, I tried to think of project ideas that would allow me to learn something about a topic that I cared about. This was the perfect topic because I can learn about baking and find out ways to cope with stress. I would say that it's challenging to figure out what the relationship between the cupcakes and mental health was. I had to learn all about the science behind why being creative stimulates something in our brain to help us improve our health. And in general, I thought that part of the research was a little bit tricky. The global context I chose for my project was identities and relationships. The global context, identities and relationships, deals with questions like who am I or who are we? And I believe this global context most closely aligns with my project. Throughout the project, I feel like I was working on my own personal identity and the identity that I wanted to project onto the people around me. I was able to improve my own personal identity by reflecting on my own feelings and tracking my mood. Decorating and baking the cupcakes helped me become more productive and improve myself by finding healthy ways to cope with stress. In terms of relationships, I was able to improve my relationships with the people I cared about by gifting them cupcakes. Some of the criteria that I set for my project was to track my mood on a mood board, track the progress in a slide presentation with pictures, and refer back to my research for design inspiration. Along the way of my project, I referred back to my research a lot to help me understand something or to get ideas for ways to decorate the cupcakes. This is the mood board that I created for the month of February so I could see the effect of baking cupcakes had on my mood and mental health. The different moods for each day are colored in the middle and the key is on the right. I think that my project does a pretty good job at aligning with the global context that I selected. As I said earlier in the presentation, I chose identities and relationships as my global context. I think that one aspect that before I started I didn't think would be that big was the relationships aspects. But throughout the project, I saw that I was actually able to spend as much time on the relationships than I was identity. I think that I really enjoyed being able to give away the cupcakes and make someone else happy. The goal of my project was to see if decorating cupcakes could improve my mental health. I think that it did. I really enjoyed learning different ways to decorate cupcakes and trying them out. If I was having a bad day or a bad week, decorating cupcakes was a great way to take my mind off of the problems that I was having and escape for a little bit. It also made me happy to be able to give the cupcakes away, which was another way I would say my health improved during this project. One big takeaway I learned while working on this project was that there are many different ways that we can deal with our mental health, and it's good to start healthy habits like baking to create a more productive and happy lifestyle and way of living. The key learning in my project was that the brain can recognize you being creative and it can produce serotonin. I think that this is really important to life in general because it demonstrates the fact that being creative can be an everyday way to live a happier life. This is really important because school and life can be very stressful, so it's important to have creative outlets and healthy ways to relieve stress. I think that the overall learning experience was very interesting. I didn't expect to find as much research and information about my project. I think that during the research and action section of the project, I learned a lot of new things. I think that it was really important to stay open minded and positive throughout the project. If I didn't do something exactly right or find a specific detail I was looking for, I think that being open minded let me accept when I made mistakes and helped me improve the next time I attempted something. My project would have caused much more stress if I wasn't open minded and if I let mistakes take over and cause too much stress. If I were to do my project again, Something I definitely would want to improve on was the planning aspect of my project. I don't think that I was the best planner in the early stages of my project. If I were to improve and plan better, I would be able to have an even more put together project and product. Here I put all the cupcakes I made in order from the first ones I made to the last ones I made. Thanks for listening to my project.